And good evening, and welcome back to the Football Fanatic podcast. This is episode 59, and I'm your host, Declan O'Connor. And with me this week, we have a full squad back. We have Mossy, we have Dan, and we have Howard. Gentlemen, how we doing? How's the new year going for you so far? Dan, I'll start with you. We were missing you last week.
Yeah, all good. Yeah, I'm kind of on the come down there last week. I was fairly miserable after my my exploits there over in the UK for nearly course of a week. So it was good I crack. But
Hey,
back to reality now of minding kids, minding children, and for the misery of Irish weather for and January just being January, I suppose. So yeah,
indeed. Moss, Howard, how are you doing?
All good, yeah.
Stuff. Okay, we'll get straight into it, and we're gonna start on the FA Cup weekend. I always like the FA Cup, the what do you call it? I always love the cup, but a lot of people are kind of saying, "Oh, scrap the replays, don't need them anymore." Postecoglou had something different to say about there today, though. He said, "Keep the sentiment; it's too important," and stuff like that. But just before I go in, I'm not gonna go into all the games, but Arsenal and United, obviously, we're gonna chat about favorite FA Cup moment. Do we have one?
oh
Um,
yeah,
for me, I'm going to start with myself. It was Tottenham versus City. I think I brought this up last season. I'm not sure. They were three. Is that White Hart Lane? They were 3-0 up going into half time. And Joey Barton went and got sent off for mouthing at the ref while going into the tunnel. So we came back out with 10 men. And then in the second half, we got one. I think it was Distan. And we got two was Paul Bosvelt. And then we got three was Sean Wright Phillips. And then we got our fourth one, the winner was John Mackin. It was absolute, it was fucking brilliant. Like it was
yes.
going mental. It was just a brilliant advertisement for like the FA Cup. Like, and just we were down to 10 men, and it was just brilliant comeback. Definitely my one. Anyone want to shout out what their favorite FA Cup moment was?
Oh,
Mine was just the epic final, Liverpool West Ham. But I think we talked about it last year.
Oh yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, I just remember watching it and kind of feeling it was gone, it was done, and
Mm.
that the Hammers, that Paul Konchesky winner, no doubt as well, of all people to have a winner, and then Gerrard scored that absolute fucking screamer. I don't think he could hit it any cleaner.
Yeah,
Um,
super goal.
in at a long time, I think while he had like cramp, I think as well, and yeah, got us into extra time, then won it on penalties. But I think that moment, even not even just an FA Cup moment, but just
Yeah,
euphoria,
of
it'd be
course,
right up there. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, Howard, you have one?
mine was the FA Cup Arsenal versus Hull. What year was it? She's 2014, I think. So Arsenal went 2-0 down against a brilliant,
The might,
fantastic,
the mighty Hull.
easy on the
Jesus
eye Hull
Christ.
City. And it was actually the moment for me was the Santi Cazorla free kick. Like I think it was a good 30, 35 yards out. And like they didn't look like they were scoring Arsenal, just weren't creating any chances or anything. And he pinged it in with his right foot into top left corner, and that was the start of their comeback. And then they got another goal 2-2, and they won it next time. Ramsey won it next time. So it was the wait. It was that time where Arsenal had waited, I don't know how many, 9 years or something for a trophy,
All
had
right.
fallen at the hands of Birmingham City in the Carabao Cup that
Oh
Yes.
time.
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I threw a hissy fit. So we were due a trophy, and like then like we got in like a chance to beat Hull City, and like surely we're gonna win that. Like, and then 2-0 down after the first 20 minutes, you're just like, oh, here we
Yeah,
go.
fair enough.
So it was like one of them things, just like got the win. And then that started, what was it, like 3 or 4 FA Cups then
In
after
the
that,
next few
in
years,
the
yeah.
next few years. Yeah, so started to
It
stop the
won't be. It
rot.
won't be this year, Howard, though, will it?
It won't be this year, Dan. And sure, look, I'll be sick of the FA Cup. I'm sick of it. I won it 14 times. Can we bothered with
Yeah.
you?
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Moss, we'll finish with you. Your favorite FA Cup moment.
Mine is probably from the 99 season.
Oh yeah.
My birthday's in October, and I got the United white away jersey. It was my first away jersey. First jersey, really. And we obviously didn't have a lot of matches on TV, but the FA Cup we used to get, and the United replay against Arsenal was on TV, and it was
I was
on. It
at the
was really
semi-final, was it?
semi-final replay. Yeah, it was a serious late game. I
Yeah.
remember
Oh,
it
I know
being,
this
well,
goal.
I don't know if it was late now, but when I was
It was a
seven
great
or
goal,
eight,
in
it
fairness.
seemed like it was a very late game, and I got to stay up, and I was delighted. I was convinced, ma'am, she had like she wouldn't know what a ball was, but hit her in the face, like, and
Fair enough. Okay.
no interest whatsoever. Put on a sport, man would leave the room. And I just remember having the jersey on and watching this, and then Roy Keane got sent off, and I was just like devastated that we were going out, however. And then Ryan Giggs down the wing cuts in and beats everybody and scores this unbelievable goal. And I just remember going absolutely mental around the sitting room, flipped the table. Mom came in and gave out shit to me, but I didn't really pass Martina, and it just was an absolutely unbelievable moment that I don't think I'll ever forget.
The hairy chest on him.
Hairy
Who was
chest.
the way? Who was the? It was Dixon, or who was the back that he absolutely destroyed about 3
I
times?
think
No,
it
no.
was Winterburn.
Winter Burns right back, was he? Dixon
Yeah.
left back,
Yeah,
right back.
it was
Definitely.
Dixon was left back, I think.
Oh
And
yeah.
right back.
Remember he just swiveled. He went in and out like 3 or 4 times, didn't he? Like yeah.
He was class. It was a class goal. It was a class goal. And like the fact that we're down 10 men as well, like really.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that was kind of the look of that season in general. Things went their way as well. But it was, great moment.
Oh, and Deck is on mute. Talk, Deck. Well, you're not on mute, but we just can't hear you.
So, like, Moss, was that like it was 1-1 in normal time, then it was extra time Giggs got that goal?
Yeah, Roy King got sent off before that, and then it went to extra time. I kind of thought, like, they're down a player. There's no way, like, maybe hold on for penalties like they did yesterday, but like it came out of nowhere. It was a moment of absolute magic.
And
So
wasn't it Arsenal had missed the penalties for Schmeichel had saved them, didn't
Michael
he?
saved the penalty. There's a lot of
Yeah,
overlaps with
I remember
what
that.
happened
Yeah,
yesterday. It just
Yeah.
happened to be a third round, not a semi-final.
very good. So yeah, there are actually a lot of coincidence there, like Arsenal falling to United, a man being sent off, it going the
Penalty
distance
miss.
to
Yeah.
penalties. So where we are, that was 99, 25 years later. Deja vu. What the hell happened yesterday?
Yeah, the only difference there now, Deck, is that was the final. This was the very first round.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just
it's
saying, I
like
like to create drama.
Yeah. No, look, it was a similarities in a lot of way. I think it's just it reflects what Arsenal are at the moment. I think just not dominating games, but just can't score. So, like it really, against Newcastle now and against United, they really could have had 3 or 4 goals in each game and just haven't been able to put the ball in the back of the net, I'm afraid. And United, I knew when it was going down to penalties, I knew United were going to win because it's always that way, the team that's hanging on, just get the penalties, tends to win the penalties. I think it's almost like there's more pressure on the guys who were trying to score because they know, we've tried everything, we can't score. And then it just kind of gets in their head a bit when they're taking the penalty. So,
Well, what do you call it? I mean, Havertz, like, he had numerous chances. And I mean, has the Havertz project kind of fallen? Hasn't failed, but I mean, it's definitely taken a step back or two. Like, has it?
Like, I think he hasn't probably been. Well, he's had a good season. He's had 12 goals, I think, so far in 25 games or something like that.
That's
so it's not like
you would have banked on him surely to kind of get 1 or 2 of those yesterday.
Yeah, like he doesn't have like it's so funny. Havertz is like he's a real weird player. Like sometimes he can go in off his shin and he probably didn't mean it, and other times he gets it out of his feet and he's like, oh, he's done so well to get out of his feet, and then he blazes over the bar. He's just a weird, like he's not a killer, like he's not he has a lot of skill sets to him. He's a very unusual guy. He's 6'5" or something. Like he's a very unusual talent set, but his talent set wouldn't be like running through and goal and like cool as you like finish. He's very but like I hear people like, oh, giving out stink about him and all that, and I get it. Like, it can be infuriating to watch sometimes with like when he should be scoring. But like if you even watch that one where he toe pokes it over the bar, like he has some, like his movement is exceptional. Like to get into them positions, he just peels around the back of the defender and gets there. But after that, obviously it's a shit show. But people do when they criticize him, and you see people giving him a stick online. Like he has to be there to miss the chance in the first place. But it's just unfortunate that he does.
So does Nunes.
Consistently, exactly. Nunes similar. Well, in fairness, now Havertz has had a much better season than Nunes. Like Havertz has been like.
The difference is though, Howard, Havertz's misses are costing Arsenal this season.
Well, at the moment, yeah. Well, they have Newcastle the last 2 games basically. I wouldn't say he's had so many glaring misses.
No.
apart from the last 2 games. But look, they have been important.
On the last game against Newcastle, do you think you'll turn that around, or can you turn that? And you're going like if that's
I
at St
genuinely,
James's,
I
isn't it?
don't think we'll get anything out of the new. I think Newcastle away from home,
Oh, yeah,
like 2-0 is a tricky result because do Newcastle sit back and let Arsenal come at them, or do they just play attack of football, and if they concede a goal, at least they'll get a
yeah,
goal. It's weird. If they were winning 1-0, you'd say
Mhm.
okay, Newcastle will come at them anyway, but 2-0 gives them a bit of a cushion, so they
of
might
course,
stand.
yeah,
But I think, look, that game as well. Like I'm more disappointed, obviously, in that game than I would have been in the United game. I just think if you're going out in the FA Cup, I know it's terrible to say, but go out early. But like the semi final of the Carabao Cup would be a nice one just to get to the final and try
of
and
course, yeah.
get Wembley and win it. That was really that really annoyed me, that game, because like I feel bad for this whole like I feel bad for Arteta in a way, because you can't put the ball in the back of the net to a point, right? But we have all said it, like Arsenal have been like screaming out for a killer and for that focal point up front, that with like you give Isaac or Gyökeres, or even like even I know any like Haaland or any of
Yeah.
them, like them
Jota.
chances that, or Jota, like any of them, like them chances that Havertz had, or even just had him up front, like they would, like out of them expected goals that they would have got a good few more. So it's disappointing. And then with the lack of Saka as well up front, it's just, yeah, they're missing their attacking line is a bit decimated at the moment, I'm afraid.
Yeah. All right. On the other side, a very happy Moss. What did you
Yeah, look,
think?
I think to be able to have backed up the performance, hardworking,
Yeah.
great determination performance that we put on against Liverpool, to have another week on the training field with Amran, which was sorely lacking at the start of his time at United, and put on another good performance. Look, it was great. It was determination. That Arsenal did have chances when we were down to 10 men, particularly, and by and large, I thought we defended very well. There was good shape to them. They still offered the threat on the counter, and like that's a million miles from where we were 6 months ago. Like
Yeah.
start of the season, we conceded one. We felt like the whole world was going to go against you, and they're just that level of like determination and togetherness as a group just is really reassuring that things maybe are going in the right direction, and he is starting to he's getting buy-in from the players. And I know it's early on and you'd expect it, but like we didn't have a new manager bounce or any of those things that traditionally happen when you get a new manager in. So I think it's very promising. It shows signs of a team coming together. Yes, we got a bit of luck with the chances that Arsenal missed. I thought the actual penalty save was absolutely fantastic, more so than Odegaard missing it. I thought Bendal had an exceptional game.
Why was Onana not playing? Or is it just a selection choice?
Amron has said that he's going to be the cup keeper. Onana will be the first Premier League,
Okay.
and he's going to give him the cup. And it was a big call because like he was at fault against Tottenham in the Carabao Cup, um, or against Tottenham, like for letting in the Olympico goal, and he didn't have a good game, really. But he was bold statement. Look, you're going to be my cup keeper, and he backed him. And like I suppose you could question his part in Arsenal's goal in terms of the way he punched it out wasn't
Yeah.
great, but he is a player who's played 5 games in 18 months. Like he has to be a bit rusty. His footwork and delivery of the ball, his kicking wasn't inspiring a whole lot. But in terms of it was he had a brilliant day. Two penalty save from Havertz again, which again was another good penalty save as opposed to a terrible penalty. And there's an awful lot of togetherness, positivity, likes of Garty, the work he's doing in midfield, a bit of
Yeah.
fire, a bit of commitment, like just so many elements that have been lacking for so long in United, that if they can take that kind of defensive solidity that they're building and see if we can work on the transitions and trying to control the game, and can we actually score a few goals. Southampton game coming up is going to be
Yeah.
super important to back it up with a win.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all that. And now, Mr. Neutral, Dan, what did you make of the game? You said it was very entertaining, which I fully agree it was.
Yeah,
Did
it
anything
was.
stand out for you?
I think Mossy kind of said it there. Yeah, I think United in particular, especially considering they played 60 minutes with 10 men, at the Emirates. Defender really well. I think Maguire in that three, he's looked an awful lot better. It seems to suit him, I think. And in midfield, the legs. When the legs in midfield, and then you have the likes of Bruno. And I thought Garnacho, actually, in fairness as well, worked very hard off the front. So they're kind of getting, the buy-in, I guess, that maybe obviously had gone under Ten Hag, but even at the start, as Massey said there, it looked so disjointed that the players didn't know what they were doing. And as I said, I seen it firsthand last week against Liverpool that they very much knew what they were doing. I think it was the same again. Like they went to the Emirates with the game plan. It was to be tight, compact, and frustrate Arsenal, quiet the crowd down, and then hit them on moments when they got a chance. They were missing Diallo, I think, from the start, because I think again with that sort of tactic. He's very, very important part of it. He's an excellent player. And he signed a new deal as well with them. So I think he's one that they can really I won't say build a team around, but I think he's a vital part. I think he's really good.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
and look, Arsenal, I think just watching them this season, it's not just this performance, it's been like that, I think, a lot of the season watching them, in particular now, like Saka missing is even I don't know how many crosses or corners did United or did Arsenal have yesterday. And maybe if it was Saka had his boot around it, would they have got one of them? I don't know. But he had so many corners in that match. Considering a couple of weeks ago when they met United, like every time the ball went in, you thought it was going to be a goal. It wasn't the case this time round. Whatever, maybe United were more organised again, but they're missing Saka. When you see the likes of Sterling, I know Martinelli has been slightly better, but like he's a mile off the player he was a year or two ago, where I was waxing lyrical about how good he was. They really are lacking in that final third. Jesus has got injured now. It's just going to be interesting to see like what they can do. I know the young lad he'll be back soon enough. He looked decent. But again, you can't be kind of hanging your hat on him for the next couple of months. I don't think either. So. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting kind of. Arsenal have good few home games coming up, but they're against good opposition. So if you're not putting the ball in the net, they're definitely not watertight at the back like they were in previous seasons either. So they need to try and find some sort of another route to getting goals going. It wasn't that long ago there that they hammered. Who was it? They bashed. It was a Palace, no, or Brent. Yeah. So like there is goals in the team. It's just there's certain games you watch them and just it's so slow, Howard, isn't it? Slow,
I think to be honest, they look wrecked. Like they look like they're out on their feet. To be honest, like they could do another trip to Dubai. maybe this
an FA Cup weekend.
They have a few days off of that FA Cup loss now. They might be able to get out and do something. But like,
it could be a blessing. Absolutely.
They are missing a couple of players now up front. Like I think they're crying out for an out-and-out striker, and I think they need a winger. And then you have Partey and Jorginho are leaving in the summer, so they're going to need at least another midfielder. So they've got a lot of recruiting to be doing. Now, like how much money they're going to have. When Jesus injured, like that means you can't sell him. Like so,
I read something today, Howard. You might be able to confirm or deny. I don't know. Arteta, with the contract he signed during the summer, he's been given more and more kind of authority at the club, and that was the reason why Edu left the club.
There was a rumor, Edu came out and said that's completely not true, but that's
okay.
Yeah, right. I heard that as well. No, it's
this podcast is getting awful bad for rumors. Last week it was a bust up in the Liverpool dressing room.
No one
going down a slippery slope here now with these rumors.
That's true.
Dan, nobody has denied that one. I mean that's still hanging in the air there. I mean no one's confirmed or denied.
I tell you one thing I will say is that last season when Arsenal in then moments where they needed a goal or something to step up, time and time again it was Trossard that was the one that would find the goal, and that's not happening again this and that's just the problem when they're all going off the boil at the one time. It can be difficult, and that just seems to be the case with them in the forward line. And to be honest with you, it's one of the things to say, I'm not convinced as of yet of Moreno in midfield either. He looks like a bit of a big lump, but for me he hasn't stood out as being an improvement on what Arsenal already had, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only thing I say Arsenal is that it reminds me very much of what they were like last year. This time last year, like between September and to January, like and even the game at the weekend again, that game against Liverpool. Remember, Arsenal should have been a few goals up. Remember that the FA Cup game, Dan? They wore the white kit as well. and they should have been out of sight.
Horrible,
And
horrible
Liverpool,
kid.
He's an
yeah,
awful
Liverpool.
kid.
Why did
You
they do
can't,
it?
you can't even make out the numbers on the back, like.
Yeah, well,
What is it about?
it's a no stabbing, no blood, no to red. Like it's an anti-stabbing.
Oh, right, okay. I had no idea. Yeah.
Awful idea.
They nearly lost.
Awful.
An anti-stabbing jersey.
There's more ways to fucking
Yeah,
get against
it's the raise
stabbing than going
awareness.
like a jersey like that.
It's to raise awareness for stabbing in London, pretty much. So
Shite
it's no,
idea.
it's no red anyway. But look, I just to finish the point.
Awful.
It reminds me a bit of that game, that Liverpool game, and
Yeah.
they went off to Dubai afterwards, and
That's right, yeah.
turned the season around. So hopefully, something like that happens, even though they can't get to Dubai. So
Okay, come here. We'll move on from anti-stabbing, etc., because they cannot go to Dubai, Howard, because they have a big trip. Not even a trip. They welcome Spurs to the Emirates on Wednesday, and Liverpool are away to Notts Forest tomorrow. Tomorrow night, is it?
Yeah,
Gee,
Liverpool
that's
tomorrow night.
that's a fucking quick
is it
turnaround.
not
isn't
Wednesday?
it?
Oh no,
No, Liverpool tomorrow night.
Liverpool are
Liverpool
tomorrow
are
night, and
Tuesday.
Arsenal
Arsenal are
are
Wednesday.
home on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this is a big one. Big 2 or 3 days, because, I mean, Liverpool are away to Forest, and I don't think it's probably as tough an away game as you can get this season in the Premier League. Maybe Newcastle and Villa, maybe are up there, Newcastle anyways, but yeah, it's going to be a good game. I mean, as you said, Dan, in the WhatsApp group, if you go and win that, and you're away to Brentford then next, yeah, you go and win that, it's a big statement.
Yeah, but I think if Liverpool are serious about winning the title, as good a season as Forest are having, fair enough. Liverpool lost against them at home earlier in the season, so the home one. But like Forest had gone away from home to Arsenal and City and got kicked by both of them. So it's kind of like they're having a good season, but the top side, I think Liverpool are top side and should be able to go there and win. Like this kind of thing of a point to be a good result. I think if you're serious about winning the title, you have to go to Nottingham Forest. As good a season, I don't mean a disrespectful way to them. Good a season as they are having, Liverpool should be able to go there and win. So and then Brentford, I think they still have the best home record in the league, but they're decimated by injuries, I think, at the moment. So they're not as strong.
Do they have the best home record?
They had the best. They had it.
Really?
They still have it, I think, don't they?
Yeah.
Best home record in the league.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were one of the worst away records and one of the best home records.
But I do think it's a big couple of days in that sense. I think
absolutely,
nothing short of 6 points really you should be getting from, in my opinion, from them 2 games. If you're serious about winning the title, you should be able to go there and win as good as I said, season Forest are having.
I get 100% what you're saying. I agree. If you are serious about, like, that's the type of game you need to show that you can win. But on the other side, and they're not contenders, but if Forest were to win, they're only 3 points behind Liverpool, and they're in second. Depending on what Arsenal do. But I mean, it's great. It is mental. I mean,
it is. They're having an unbelievable season.
They absolutely are. And I mean, I know a lot of people laughed at Nuno and everything like that, but like, he's doing a great job for them. So I mean, I don't know. I do think it'll be a draw tomorrow night. Moss, Howard, I'm curious what you think for Liverpool and Notts Forest.
I'll be praying for a draw, right, or a loss for Liverpool. But
of course,
I can see it happening. I really can see it. Like, to be honest, I can see the season going that like Liverpool end up dropping a good few points, but everyone else won't.
And he's off. I love this. Come on, Howard. I want this to happen as well. Come on.
But
he's manifesting here.
I just think that I can't see Arsenal catching them. I don't think they have the team. I don't think Saka gone now. I think he's such a big loss that like it's hard to see Arsenal go on a run to catch Liverpool. So I could see Liverpool dropping some silly points and Arsenal not taking advantage of it. That's unfortunately. Let's see.
And on the opposite side though, that's what's happened. Like Liverpool have had the United game and Fulham game where Arsenal had slipped up and they had the opportunity to go and have a bigger lead than they had. And in both games, they didn't come away with maximum points. So that they've already, in a sense, Liverpool had 2 chances to go further clear and haven't taken either of them,
Moss, Notts Forest and Liverpool, what do you think?
I'm kind of torn, to be honest, because I kind of wanted Notts Forest to fall back so there'd be more chance of us getting in the top 5. But I don't want Liverpool to win. So, not really shouting for either. But I honestly, like, if this, I'd expect them, even though they're at home, to sit back, to defend well, be well organised, and then use the pace of
Yeah.
Elanga, Hudson and Doyle,
Playoff Wood. That's what they've done for a lot of
and
the
play off
season.
Wood, and
Yeah.
that's been what's been working effectively for them.
Yeah.
And I suppose Liverpool are going with a point to prove. They're the only team to beat them, I suppose, really, and they want to I suppose it really give them the credibility that we are commanding, taking charge, because I feel like they've floundered a little bit. And although they've like putting decent performances in like Newcastle, etc., like with United 13th, you probably would have expected them to beat them. With Newcastle, the way they came back and with, they probably could have won it. So like, I think for Liverpool, it's probably about making a statement as much as anything else, and to reinforce that this is going to be their year, and I would expect them to do it. But that Nottingham Forest are well organised. They're not an easy team to break down, and they have an unbelievable threat on the counter. So I would expect it kind of be a tight, maybe like 2-1 to Liverpool.
If Liverpool play like they did against United, though, they won't be like they
No.
can't put it at that level. I wouldn't worry too much about the Carabao Cup game. So I'm still confident that Liverpool will go through that. But like if they play like that at that level, you have to play against United or in a couple of other games even recently where some of them they've blown a few teams away. It's weird. They kind of started the season, they weren't conceding any goals, and now they were starting to concede goals. Still had a few, like they had a good Christmas. Still, really, when you look at some of the results there, they bashed up West Ham, Leicester, like teams they should be beaten, but they beat them convincingly. But I still think that they need to up the level of performances that we've seen probably recently.
Canada is a big loss, Stan. I think since Canada gone out of the team, like there have been little tweaks.
Yeah, he's not fit either.
He's back, but he's not right. Like, yeah,
he's not right. Have you seen the goal that the Solanke got in the cup? Like, Canadi fully fit, that doesn't happen. You could hear see him. He couldn't actually turn. It was like he was frozen solid for a couple of seconds.
Like he was doing a Harry Maguire impression.
Yeah. And even when he came on, or even against United as well, Hoyland ran him ragged. And he didn't look fit to me at all. So I'd be interested to see. He probably has to start him because he didn't play him in the cup game now. But for me, he's not right. And yeah, like I take your point in that as well. I think there's a bit of that, but I think there's also probably a bit of maybe teams finding out a bit more to play through Liverpool's midfield. Earlier in the season, that wasn't happening either, and the team seemed to be getting an awful lot more space in the middle. So it's just going to be about, look, again, like Forest Betis and Betis convincingly, they're the better side at Anfield. So if they don't put out a performance, they won't win. And like Forest are no mugs considering where they are in the table.
You couldn't be playing them at a worse time, really, for form like Forest.
Absolutely.
On form, like Forest are probably the most formed team in the league at the moment and at the peak of their powers. So it will be an interesting battle, I'd say.
And will Arsenal capitalise on Wednesday night against Spurs? I mean, you should.
Yeah.
But will you?
Yeah. Look, Tottenham are such a hit and miss. I think. Look, with all the crosses and all the corners, like you can't be. If they still have Iman Dragusin and Archie Gray in there, like surely you'd think the Arsenal, even Havertz, should eat that up. And maybe it's a good game to have. North London Derby, turn the fan. Like the thing is, it's starting to get a bit like everyone's getting all mopey. The fans are getting all on Arteta's back. Yeah. It's a good game to come and just like, all right, back at it again, get the win under the belt, and then go on to Aston Villa then on whatever day, Saturday or Sunday it is. So,
Are you at home for that one as well?
Yeah, home for the both of them.
Arsenal like five. I think you have like 4 or 5 home games in a row.
I think we've had a few of them already.
Yeah, I think
Villa soon as well, don't you?
Villa, yeah.
All right. Well, look,
I don't know. I'd be worried about it. About like how it's a big game, like
absolutely, yeah.
With following with the Carabao Cup, out of the FA Cup, and regardless of what Liverpool do, like Arsenal need to get pressure on, and if they were to slip up on that, and they did, like Tottenham do have the potential to pull out a ridiculous performance out of nowhere. Like they took them the extra time to beat Tamworth, and they were awful. Like it was Timo Werner versus Kai Havertz is what's in my head of who can miss the most. Like, and like I do think like power. Like I suppose you have to think how they went extra time. Like Pedro Porro played 120 minutes, which against Tamworth he should never have been doing. Like so maybe that sort of thing with their so limited at the back that will come to will be in Arsenal's favour. But like they still have the likes of Kulievski can pull a goal out of nowhere, and if they were to go ahead. Although they're probably likely to concede, I think the Emirates isn't going to respond overly well to it the way things are going at the minute.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. I suppose the only thing I'd say is that like Arsenal haven't like I know we've lost the 2 games there in the cup, but like they haven't been playing terribly badly. Like they've created chances, just can't score. I'd be much worried if they're like we're just not actually getting even any chance. Like City there when they went on their dip there, like they weren't even able to create any chances. Like they weren't even they were just
We're Howard. We're still in our dip. Don't let anyone
yeah.
tell you otherwise.
Oh, I just
Eh,
yeah.
I think Spurs' record though at the Emirates is terrible, isn't it? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, it's not like look if they had their 2 centre halves, Tottenham, then I'd be a bit more worried. The
Yeah.
fact that the bench is decimated, like
I was speaking to a Spurs fan today, and I mean, just he looks poor lad looks broken. Like he is about 40. He looks about 60. Um, he's just like the poor lad. I mean, he's going. Are you looking forward to the derby on Wednesday night? He goes, no. I don't care. It's just the season is already over for them. And I mean, he doesn't know whether he wants Postecoglou to stay or not because he kind of respects some of what Postecoglou says. A lot of people are calling for Levy to kind of leave, which they have been doing for years. But I mean, he thinks like Levy has actually, forget the football side, business side, he has turned them
Yeah,
into like a real operating, a real kind of world class setup with the kind of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Like during the summer, he was saying with White Hart Lane, football would stop in Maine and that would be it. Like the place in Tottenham itself, he said it was a kip. He was really going at them. But now with the kind of what Levy has done, like he's really rejuvenated the stadium, and during the stadium, lots of money coming in via concerts and stuff like that. But it's just they can't kind of get it going on the pitch. And yeah, look, we'll see. I mean, I don't think there's much left to play. Well, then again, sorry, the second leg of the Carabao Cup.
yeah.
That'll be very interesting. I
Do-
thought I thought they were pretty good like the other night against Liverpool.
I don't know. I didn't think there was a lot in the game. The one thing I would say just about them, like I noticed, I don't know if you noticed that as well. Son seems to have slowed down quite a bit, hasn't he?
Definitely, definitely,
He
he's
yeah.
just doesn't
but
have that bit of blistering kind of
yeah, that's a fair.
acceleration. And he is like when Kane left. You remember last season, like
Yeah.
Son was the one that picked up the mantle. He is their has been their talisman. He is getting on though, mind you, as well. But he just whatever it is, I know he had an injury earlier in the season. He just doesn't look the same player at all.
Doesn't
Yeah, on
doesn't look as hungry, definitely.
stage. You think he's lost that yard of pace?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Someone else who has lost that yard of pace, we're going to move on to Brentford versus Man City now at the moment. He has lost a few yards of pace, is Kyle Walker.
he'll have
Um,
a few extra. He'll have a few extra pound in his bank account. That's it. Oh, by the sounds of things.
I know, yeah. I'm not overly surprised. For anyone that doesn't know, he requested to leave Man City a few days ago. Wants to explore his options. So I mean, presuming he'll be end up in the Saudi League or might go to the Serie A, AC Milan supposedly. I don't know, but I'm not overly shocked by it. His performances have been well below par this season and even last season. There did look to be a loss of. He looked to have lost a little bit of his pace. But yeah, look, I'm not overly surprised. We do need to kind of bring in some players. We need to kind of push some players, not push some players out, but we need to replace them. We need a little bit of kind of fresh blood in the team. And the two players I'm looking at coming in are Omar Marmoush. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, let's go for
A lot
that.
of
Yeah.
Good
bush.
as I'd say,
Omar
Tech. I don't know.
Marmoush from Frankfurt, Egyptian. He's the second coming. He's a great lad. And then
Second governor Mido, as I
He
was
likes
yeah, absolutely.
pyramids.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other one, this is a good one. Abdul Kadir Kushnev or Abi
Oh,
Kush or
Abby
Abi
oh, the
Kush
centre.
from Lens, centre half. Yeah, look, I know nothing about them, but I have watched YouTube clips of them. YouTube always makes them look good, but I mean,
yeah, cuts their best clips.
it does. It definitely doesn't show their shit clips, but I mean, Omar looks the player. He looks a lot like Alvarez. To be honest, he can play anywhere across the front three. To play him behind in a number 10, and I mean, from what I'm reading about this potential signing is that like it will be a replacement for kind of Haaland on the days when Haaland needs a break, but he can also play alongside whether it's behind or to the left or right. Um, yeah, look, I do think that we need kind of pace, we need energy, definitely kind of going forward because it's gone stale. Even though we've won the last 2 games against Leicester and Southampton, you can just see like even especially against Leicester, we could have lost that game. West Ham, fair enough, we did deserve to win, and I'm not going to read anything into beating Salford 8-0. Except James McAtee. got a hat trick. So,
Yeah.
look, we need more energy, and I don't know a lot about them. If you know anything about these two players, if you know who they are, where they come from, what the hell they're doing, please do
Just
tell.
Marmoush, I know Liverpool were linked with him as a potential replacement for Salah. Now, look, a lot of it was
Okay.
just media talk earlier in the season, but his stats anyway, considering what he's doing in Germany, not a great side, would fill you full of confidence that City rarely over the last number of years have bought bad ones, and I think Moss, you put it into the group there about their efficiency. Now, whether it's efficiency or panic, on this occasion, it's hard to know, but like they don't usually get them too far wrong when they go dip into the transfer window. So
Yeah.
I'd be expecting them to do well. Would it be an interesting question? It won't be in January, but the summer will be with the likes of Grealish. There must be a couple there that
Oh
are
yeah.
kind of now on the fringes, and Grealish costs an awful lot of money. Is he one now that'll be given the gate come the summer? There's players they're looking to bring in. He referenced offensive. I think the Walker one's a small bit bizarre that it's January, considering that they're still in the Champions League, that there still is things to play for, and that he's decided in January to say, why January unless maybe it suits the club for him to move him on now. But I thought it was a bit bizarre that a senior player is there that long. Fair enough, not having a good season, but there's not many that are just turn around and
No.
kind of say, I want to kind of go now, kind of thing in January. That doesn't happen that often. I don't think it'll be
I
more the
know.
summer. Yeah.
It's a good point just on Grealish, and I'm glad you brought him up because I mean, if you
Mm.
look at his time at City the last 3 years, yeah, he hasn't played anywhere near what he's done at Villa, and he has been a shadow of the player who was at Villa. Like at Villa, when he got the ball, he was exciting. He'd run at teams. Now, you get the ball, you run, he checks back. Literally,
Yeah.
he just doesn't do what he's doing at Villa. But if he moves on, can he look back at City as like a time that like he did win the treble, he did win a
Yeah,
Champions League.
100%.
Like, so what side like are you on? Like, was it a good move for him? Obviously, trophy wise it was, but footballing wise, has he come back?
I think
I
good
don't think
move
he's
for
come
him,
back.
but
I
he
think
has,
he's
yeah.
been Pep like does not want a winger to do that. He wants the
Yeah.
winger to come back and check. And I feel like at the start he struggled massively because he wasn't doing it the Pep way, and the treble winning season was kind of him at his peak because he did have an excellent season that year. Um, uh, and then partied all hard all summer and kind of
Yeah.
rested on his laurels a little bit since. Like, but I do
What's
think
it?
that a
His
part of it is the way Pep system
Definitely.
probably takes away his best attributes and what his flair and his ability to beat a player has been nearly coached out of him. And it would be interesting to see would he be able to recapture that at somewhere else. I think.
what's it call it? Like his goal scoring for an attacking player, and the stats has been poor. And there was like he got his first goal yesterday for I don't know how long it has been since
It's
he
over a
scored.
year, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
over here against Salford. So I mean, all the team were running over to congratulate him, etc. But there was this
And it
thing
was a
on.
penalty.
It was a penalty, yeah. But there was this thing online, like celebrating your first goal in a year against Salford is like going to a brothel to lose your virginity or something like that. You know what I mean? But
Do you know
look,
what? I'd like to see him go back to Villa.
maybe,
I think
yeah.
Villa could do. I think Villa could do actually with someone off that left side. I know Rodgers has done a job there, but it'd be interesting to see where he could end up. But I
Mm.
wouldn't be surprised if he went somewhere else and done well because I think he's a
Yeah.
good
Oh,
player.
yeah.
But I don't think he for especially if you take into account the fee as well that was paid for him. I don't think he.
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's one of the few that hasn't worked out. I don't think, but really in City don't buy too many bad ones. And I don't know where not to spend it is done. Like I'd say they could. It's early days. We're only into the start of January, really. Will there be another one or two? Do you think?
I mean, just looking at the videos of these two lads, they look good. There's some lad from Brazil, but like he's only 18, so he's not going into the City team. Um,
I don't know, Jack. I know you're saying look good on YouTube, but like Mamouche is 25,
yeah.
25, and like this is his first real season where he's any sort of been prolific in front of goal. Like he's been in San Pauli, he's been with Wolfsburg on loan. Like he hasn't lit up the Bundesliga for a
No,
player that's been there for 3 or 4 years. Like
I'm not getting overly excited. Don't worry. I'm not allowing my
Yeah,
hope to go too high
fairness,
here.
Moss, he looked good in the championship, and he'll be on championship wages anyway. So like, I'd say the other lad they're bringing in from Lons as well, as centre half. Like again,
Abby
probably
Koosh.
yeah, Abby Kush. Like, there's no way Abby Kush will be there for the long run. Abby Kush is going to be
Yeah,
dedicated. Himself and Oscar Bob are going to bring them up.
Abby Koosh is from Uzbekistan. All right, this is the
yeah.
biggest moment of his
I,
life.
I can see it. I can see it next season. Actually, you're right, Howard. I can kind of. I'm to use your that manifest. I can see Yeah, Abby Cooch and Simpson Poussey there going away to fucking
Now you're
Plymouth next
talking.
season. Can see
Yes.
it, yeah.
Pass it to Omar. Pass it to Omar.
Yeah, and the second coming up top. Okay,
Just,
so
just a quick one on the charge there, Dag. I heard something came out there today that Sky Sports said that between 21 and 25 now, 2021 and 2025, or 24, that they're going to release tomorrow what teams are going to be charged between that time for financial issues.
say
So,
that again. I didn't hear that. Say that again. What's
so
going
between
on tomorrow?
2021 and 2024, like whatever teams that
Oh, okay.
the league feel have fallen foul of the PSR financial
Right.
fair play rules, they're going to announce tomorrow. So
Yeah.
hopefully
Interesting.
Chelsea
So,
are going to be in that.
really? Okay. So like,
Yeah, there's talk that Everton are going to be hit with another charge as well.
poor Everton, man, they
Yeah.
cannot catch a break. I mean, they've all the
Moisey will be delighted
yeah,
with
we're
that,
going to
won't
go
he?
back now. We're going to go to Everton now in a sec. But I mean, if that's coming out tomorrow, that will be interesting because like there's definitely this whole City shadow is kind of overlooming this whole thing. Because I mean, I doubt City would be a part of that because as far as I know, they've
No,
been
they're big.
cleaned from whatever 17 or 18
Yeah, no,
onwards.
yeah.
It's what happened before that. But I mean, say like if there are one or two teams within 21 to 24 that are docked or charged or whatever, and again, this whole City thing is kind of overshadowing that again. So we'll see.
I think we already know them. We kind of already know though, Howard, don't we? Like, as in, you kind of like Everton one. I think is one that's expected. I think what was it? Wolves for the other and
Yeah, Forest.
Forest. Yeah.
Okay.
There was, and Chelsea then was the question
Chelsea.
mark. They were
I
selling
think
off hotels to try and get around it.
Leicester, Newcastle, City, Forest could all get sanctioned.
We'll see. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Anyways, we're away to Brentford. It's hard to know. I mean, look, if they have the best home record, so I'm not gonna hope for much there.
Yeah, can we
Yeah.
look at your fixtures? Did you actually look
Yeah,
at them
I
after
know
I said it?
you were saying this like
It's,
a very tough run. Yeah, it is. It's a very tough run, definitely.
looking at in February, Arsenal they have to go to the Emirates. Then you've Newcastle at home. Then Liverpool are coming to the Etihad, and then you're away at Spurs, and then away at Forest.
Yeah.
It's a fairly and then the PSG game is a big one as well. Away at
PSG at
PSG.
home. Is it away? And
Yeah,
then
away PSG.
we've
Like
Oh,
there's
you
a
have to win that.
we've Bruges
yeah,
at home. Oh, we have to win 100%.
but
Um,
it's a tough run of games. You said like that they they're still in. They're not in anywhere near where they were. So like they have a tough run of games, especially then as you said, there are new players coming into the league.
Abby
You know,
Kush.
yeah, but like to hit the ground running with a tough run of games coming up, like yeah.
No, 100%. I agree. We'll see. Okay, we said move on to Everton. Just a quick word on them now as well. So, who do we have? Well, I can't see where the hell did I write Everton. Who do they have midweek? Any offhand? Oh yeah, sorry,
Everton played Villa.
Everton. They're at home to Villa. So I mean, Davy Moyes is back. Did any of you see that one coming?
No.
I thought it was
Can't say it
Jose.
Is it a good move? Do you think? Should you go back? Dan once said many months ago, like an ex-girlfriend, you should never go back. So I mean, is Moyes right? Like it's a bit of an underwhelming appointment. Kind of get rid of Deitch, you kind of replace him with someone who is kind of
I just think I honestly think that Dice they were safe at Dice. Like
yeah.
they would have got like
I agree.
I do
Yeah.
too.
I think once they got rid of him, it kind of you do start to worry about them a bit.
They're rolling the dice here, literally. Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't need to roll the dice. Maybe roll the dice in the summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, Moyes has a great record, obviously, with Everton, and I'd be keen to see what the Everton fans' thoughts are on it because I know you were chatting to a couple of them, Dan. The idea of like going back, like you're going back, but also
Yeah.
we're a lot more successful then, like as in they were
Yeah.
high league with Moyes. So I'd be interested to hear their take.
Yeah, well, I know Glenn that we had last year on Everton fan was on our podcast last year. Stability. I kind of felt the same as Howard, like that. I thought Deitch would still keep them up. Like in that fairness, fair enough. The last couple of results haven't been good, but like the Chelsea game, they could have won that. They went to Arsenal. You know what I mean? Like they were picking up points in games that they shouldn't have been picking up any points. So I don't know. I kind of felt that I didn't think that they go down with Deitch there, but I suppose Ben's take was that maybe it'd be a gamble to beat Deitch there, where he thinks with Moyes it'll bring stability that will keep them there because they can't be going into next season with a brand new stadium and be in the championship. That's pretty much the goal to it. And whether or not like the Moyes deal is 2.5 years, like you could see him potentially they stay up, go into next season, and it being kind of dire and maybe not great to watch, and not too long before the new owners go and make a change there again. Like, I
Very
thought the
true.
Moyes
Yeah.
thing isn't a long term thing, and I actually I like Moyes, so. I think what he done with West Ham, and by the end of his time at West Ham, I think he was poorly enough treated. I think with all that kind of went on there, considering what he done for the club. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on with Everton. Horrendous if it was the case that he went back there and it doesn't work out and they ended up going down, because when you look at the table, they're in a relegation fight regardless.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, like it's not, the football isn't going to be better under much better anyway under Moyes. I
Yeah.
don't know what you agree with that, but I can't see it, especially
Yeah,
when you
but
look at
like
what
I
they
think
have.
if you're making that change this time of the year, you can't be bringing a manager who's going to play a completely different side of football.
Yeah,
Like Moyes is
Yeah.
probably
Very true.
Moyes
Yeah.
is an upgrade on, like, he plays Dyche style football, but probably
Yeah.
does it a little bit better going forward, and has
Yeah.
done with previous teams. Like West Ham, that's what they were doing last year. Like he was the next lowest possession after, or sorry, the next Everton had the lowest possession last year, with West Ham being second from bottom. You know, so like it's a transition to a similar manager who probably does it maybe a little bit better, and maybe has a little bit more going forward. He has a good record. He knows the club, and his Dyche, as much as he had a couple of good results, like he won 2 games this year.
Mhm.
Do you know, he's a win percentage of 20% in his time at Everton. So,
Fair enough. Should have got rid of him earlier.
like, I know Everton aren't in the best position and they've had points deduction, and he did well to come up. But I think as an Everton fans, we're getting more and more frustrated at the fact that they just don't play anything forward. They just lump it forward like old school. And
Yeah.
new management coming in, new ownership usually leads to new management. And I think it was a bit of both. It was a sensible appointment from new management, I think. But yeah, it would be awful if they went down with, especially if points deductions are coming, because
Yeah.
that's going to put them very tight.
God, yeah, absolutely.
The question
Howard, you're grinning there. You need grin.
I just saying, like, will Moisey play the Everton way? That's the question.
Boise is the Everton way, as you've
like,
heard.
yeah. Like, is Lopetegui playing the West Ham way? Is Moisey playing the Everton way? No, these are the questions we need to be asking. You know what I mean?
Out of curiosity, what do you make of Potter replacing Lopetegui?
Oh yeah, I think it's a good point.
Yeah,
I think, like, yeah, it's hard to know what Potter, like. He had a great season with, who was it? Who was he managing?
Brighton. Yeah,
it was brilliant with Brighton, like. So it's hard to know. And then he went Chelsea. I think he'd suit them. I think he'd suit them.
Yeah, I don't think Chelsea suited Potter. I think that was fairly obvious pretty quickly. Even seeing actually Graham Potter with Brighton, he was always out in the touchline in the tracksuit. With Chelsea, he was out there in like a suit and a polo neck. He looked
corporate Potter.
Corporate Potter. He looked ridiculous. But again, you can see the West Ham thing. I'd say it's more of a fit, definitely. All right, other games during the week. So Ipswich and Brighton, Leicester and Palace, West Ham and Fulham, Chelsea and Bournemouth. That'll be a decent one. And we will end on Man United versus Southampton. That's on Thursday night. I suppose, Moss, look, it's been 2 good weeks. Liverpool result, Arsenal results. Now you got to back it up with a nice home win at the league.
It's got to be a win.
Yeah.
It's really got to be. We really need
momentum.
Points.
Yeah, you need this.
And after doing, like, I feel like if they don't put in the win, the narrative will start. Oh, they're only able to show up for the big teams, like, and that sort of stuff. And you don't need any negativity. There's enough negativity in the club with money and financial fair play and the Ineos and letting people go without adding to it. And I think it's a prime opportunity to make a bit of progress. It'll be a tough game. I'd imagine it's like in the previous games, there's been space in behind, and United have been, I suppose, absorbing the pressure, whereas there will be the expectation for that roles to be reversed against Southampton. So it'd be a matter of seeing, can we break that down and find a moment or two of magic to get us over the line that game.
No, I meant to ask you something as well. Kobe Manu. What's the story there? What's going on with his contract? Because I read that he is looking for something like 200 grand a week. Now, whether that's bullshit or not, I don't know. But is he like?
Oh, yeah. The report is that he's looking for in the region of 200,000 a week. He's currently on 20,000 a week. So like
he's on
quite an
20.
inflation.
That's
He's on 20,000 a week until 2027. So like it's not like his contract is
right.
running out tomorrow, but I think
Bit
United were
mental.
open discussion.
He's looking for the coin.
Yeah. So,
You'd wonder,
and
you'd
to be
wonder who's
fair,
in.
I have sympathy with the club in this. Like, as in some fans are like, "Oh, he's unbelievable." Played on. Yeah, he's potential to be an absolute legend at the club and the
Potential, yeah.
centre of that midfield. But like, he's not there yet. Like, comes back after doing another 3-4 years. Then
Yeah.
he could go on a 200K contract. But that's where the issue and the reporting then around it has
Anything
been.
over
He's up
100
for
is a bit.
sale.
Of
At that
course.
age, like he's 20, like, and he's on
Yeah,
20K. Yeah, he's
I think 80K,
renegotiating.
maybe 70K or something.
Yeah, which was, or even like 60K and performance bonuses that brings
Yeah.
it up to 120, 130. But I think like the whole thing has been kind of blown out of proportion in media. The fact that, oh, someone could buy him, but sure, like everyone has a figure. Like, buy anybody if you have enough money. Like,
Yeah.
so I don't understand. It's not like United are saying these are openly on the market. They're saying we're in a
Yeah,
financial situation, whereas if we got the right amount of money for these players and we can invest in developing our whole team, we'll do it. And I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to sell Menu or Garnacho too quickly, like, because they're
Yeah.
kind of, it'll cost them more to replace those type of players.
Has Rashford moved any closer to AC Milan?
Look, the Rashford thing is, I feel like it's a bit of a pipe dream unless AC Milan stump up a whole lot of money. His wages are a huge obstacle to any move that United don't. United are refusing to supplement them largely. They're willing to
Okay.
contribute some amount, and not many teams are able to afford then taking him on board. AC Milan have now been linked with Kyle Walker, so if they go with Kyle Walker, they won't be able to take Rashford because you're only allowed a certain amount of players who are non-EU based, and the tax loophole that used to make it much more affordable to bring in players, foreign players to Italy, has been closed in the last year or so, or I think it's during the summer. So realistically, if AC Milan are in from, they either have to pick him or they have to pick Kai Walker. They won't be able to
Okay.
take two. And he's competing. It seems like a strange move when they've Rafael Leao, who's starting to find a bit of form under a new manager in Conceição in AC Milan. It seems like a
Yeah.
strange move to spend that much money bringing Rashford in for 6 months.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, Massey,
Sorry.
what are they giving Diallo on his new deal?
Yeah, I've heard of a mixture of reports for around 150 to 200
Yeah. See, I don't know.
as a 5 year
It's
contract, and he's 22.
yeah.
So yeah,
Game is gone.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah,
just interesting. I'm not trying to compare, like, say, player ability, but like, I just know that likes of Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, who came through academy at Liverpool, like, they'd be on a fraction, like 30, 40 grand they're on, I think, at
They're
Liverpool.
working class now.
Yeah, yeah. But it's just to say, is I think, kind of to
I'm
go with
wrong.
that, like,
It's 100. It's 100.
100, yeah.
100,
Because I
100,000
think,
pounds. So like
yeah,
120,000.
it's just, I suppose, it's the question over. Is the ball in an academy's players' court like that? I suppose around you know
An academy
looking
player
for
is
what?
nearly always on lesser wages. If you've come through the
Yeah, yeah.
academy, the club, you sign a
He did
contract
though,
at
didn't he?
18. He was brought by
Sorry,
Solskjaer from
Menu.
that, and Menu, yes, he's through the
Yeah,
academy. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
200 seems
Sure,
a lot though,
that's,
doesn't it? If
Oh
that's the
God, yeah.
case, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember in Roy Keane's book, maybe it was someone else's book, they said that United earlier, like years and years ago, they were known to be notoriously tight when it came to offering contracts and stuff like that. I think it was in Keane's book, actually, yeah.
Is this
And
the book that Dunphy wrote?
I think
Yeah.
it might have been, yeah. He said
Right.
that they were notoriously tight when it came to offering money. But look, we don't know.
He
Anyways,
tells a great story about it, Roy Keane, about Johnny Evans. He was trying to get Johnny Evans to come up to him in Sunderland. And his quote from Johnny Evans quoted his book to him about Johnny Evans wanted 30K or something, and he was expecting him to be on 10K. And Johnny Evans turned to him and was like, "But in your book, you said that you should always know your value." And Roy was like, "Yeah, I gave him the 30K."
very good, very good. Okay, so they are the midweek fixtures. Fantasy football didn't happen this past weekend because of the FA Cup. It'll be back during the week, so we'll get a report from Dan next Monday.
Could I just say that the
Yeah,
game week, the double game week for Liverpool will be it was announced today. The fixture will be Bournemouth and Everton is where it's going in. It's the 12th of February. It's the Everton game. So the double game week for Liverpool and for Fantasy Football interview will be Liverpool away to Bournemouth and away at Everton.
you can just imagine Moyes would love His first game, his first derby back. You can imagine what he would love to do to Liverpool
And
there.
last one of Goodison has an extra to it. The last one of
That's
Goodison
the
too,
last
yeah.
one of Goodison, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Super Six this week. Richard Coulter is still leading. So the first three games: Brentford and City, Chelsea and Bournemouth, Forest and Liverpool, Everton, Villa, Newcastle, Wolves, Arsenal and Spurs. Howard, we'll start with you. Arsenal and Spurs. How do you see this one going?
I'm gonna go 3-1 Arsenal. Hopefully, please God.
3-1 Arsenal. Okay, please God, indeed. Dan, not Forest and Liverpool.
I'll go 2-0 Liverpool.
Okay, very good. Moss, I'll give you Brentford and City.
I find this one really hard to call because Brentford tend to really cause City problems.
I do.
They were excellent.
Bastards.
They were excellent at the Etihad earlier on the season and probably should have won that game. But Phil Foden started to find a bit of form. I think he's starting to look better, and that would be important.
Couldn't have looked much worse. But anyways,
So I think I'd see City pipping it maybe 2-1. Not
okay.
too convincing.
All right. Okay, Dan, Chelsea and Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think Chelsea need to kind of stop their messing,
Yeah,
don't they?
definitely,
As well.
definitely.
I think they will though. Yeah, I think Bournemouth's striking problems. Like I mentioned in the group earlier on, that they're Evan Nielsen and Unal are both out now, so they'll probably end up having to play maybe Semenyo through the middle, possibly.
Sure, they put
So
Cliver through the middle, isn't it?
I think one of them, yeah, they'll play one of them through the middle, but they're not an out-and-out striker. So I think they'll miss a bit now with that. So I think Chelsea, yeah, I'd fancy them to get back to one of ways. Go 3-1 to Chelsea.
3-1 Chelsea. And the last game, Howard, your second favorite team, Newcastle versus Wolves.
I go 3-0.
7-0 to Wolves.
Do you still hate them as much, though, Howard?
Oh, I think
There's
You
something
haven't given out about them.
There's
Haven't
something
given out
like
much this season.
there's something
They're very
likable
good
about
team.
Newcastle.
a very good
No,
team. Like
yeah, they are. I mean,
Tonali. It's
there's a
just
lot of
Tonali,
good
lads.
players.
I love
Tonali,
Tonali.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
he is
What a
good.
signing. Rolls Royce, as Dan would say.
The trio in midfield, though, honestly,
Yeah.
and when you look at what they did with Joe Linton, and that was Eddie Howe who
Yeah,
converted him into a midfielder, and then you Bruno, it was a bit of everything, and then Tonali, as you said there, Massey just glides along the turf, can do a bit of everything as well. So midfield wise, they've probably got one of the strongest trios in the league.
definitely.
And then they've one of the best, probably out and out striker at the moment, the best out and out striker in the league as well. So yeah,
And Batman coming back as well in defence to reassure it. Like they're probably lacking a goalie. They're probably lacking a top class goalkeeper.
Yeah, I just to say, like from being over there a couple of times, been at a couple of games, like it's an unbelievable stadium and atmosphere, and there is something I think likable about them. Although I always hope they do badly because my brother Richard supports them, so we obviously play a crack there. But they are like they're
if
solid.
If they make top four, obviously they have a big kind of pull card when it comes to keeping their players. But I mean, a lot of players there, man. If they don't get top four, there's a lot of kind of players there that teams would be delighted to have.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Actually, the top four is going to be very interesting. When you have the likes of Forest and
I think it'll be 5 day. Won't it?
Sorry, yeah, 5.
I think it will be.
How will the coefficient, like in previous years, was like how many teams of certain nationality got so far? Under the new system, is it the same idea? Whatever number.
I know. I'm not sure. I just know I read the other day that I think it's the 96% chance that they get the spot or something. I read some of the stat that said because Chelsea will more than likely go far in that. I don't know, Massey, if it's changed though. Actually, on your question, I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I think that's all. Howard, anything further on the anti-stabbing rally and like that?
No, nothing. As I'll keep you updated.
Please do.
Please do. Over London.
Okay.
If you're going to do it, Howard, that is definitely the most unique one I've heard. Like Aston Villa had a lovely black kit that I'd never seen before, and their original crest from when the club started.
Yeah.
They were the first English team. Yeah. The first English team to ever adopt have a crest, and they got it from some Scottish team or some link to Scotland anyway. So they wore that at the weekend against West Ham, and I was like, "This jersey's lovely," but that's nowhere near as important as anti-stab vest.
Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
I'll say, Howard, I have some good news for you. You'll be very happy to hear this. You'll be back to the original football that you've been playing with most of the season now for the game
Oh,
against Spurs.
thanks, Dan. Yeah, I don't know. It was a bit of a joke, wasn't it? Really, that ball. It was like
The
when
two balls, the 2 balls. The last 2 balls have been different than the normal one.
My God.
yeah. Well, you saw like Havertz penalty, like that was clearly the ball. Like it should have you just span in top corner and just like dip
Come here.
down.
You were talking about jerseys there, and just we'll end on this. I was the only team to change their jersey during a game. Anyone
United, was
wanna?
it?
Yes. Then
Maybe
you remember
United.
then you remember the fixture.
Sheffield Wednesday? No.
No, it was
No.
against Southampton. A nice little omen for this week. All right, lads, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your input, and thank you to all who are listening and watching. What's it call it? We'll be back next Monday. We'll have fantasy football back as well. And lads, have a very good week.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you,
All right.
Declan.
Cheers, lads. Have a good one.